Welcome everybody to another episode of the Three Count. This is your review of the Royal Rumble. We got Jay and Benny joining me here. I'm back. All right, so let's go over this Royal Rumble. We'll leave the Royal Rumble matches to the end. Let's start with the pre-show, the titles, tag team titles, women's tag team title. Charlotte and Asuka defending against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. What do you guys think of that?
Jay, you want
Ready?
to start this off? You want me to go?
Go. Just go.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I think we went over this in the midst of our predictions anyway. Um, I basically said that the only worst team to have those titles than Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax would be Asuka and Charlotte. And leading up to said match, you saw that being is that two of them were in two completely different universes. Like they were walking around with the belts, but they never interacted with each other. They never spoke about each other. Whenever one of them was getting jumped, no, the other one didn't come out. Like I said, Asuka sat up there and got destroyed by Alexa Bliss, and there was nobody came. Like I said, Randy Orton came out and helped her. You had the situation where Charlotte was getting beat up by Jackson Baszler, and she got helped out by a rival tag team. How does this not? You know what? Never mind. I'm not even going to go into that. But it's a typical Charlotte Flair match where it is that it took six different people to beat her and her tag team partner disappearing. But what I will say for the first time in, I want to say over a year, Charlotte Flair was actually pinned by being knocked the living hell out. That's the first time since I believe Bailey beat her at Money in the Bank that Charlotte has actually taken a pin and been out cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that one. She got hit in the briefcase.
No, she ran into the turnbuckle,
Oh, that's
and that's
right.
what knocked her out.
Oh yeah, I thought it was a briefcase in the bank. Sorry, you're right.
But yeah, it was a nothing match. We all knew it was going to happen. They had to start up something to get the two of them split up from each other because they should have never been a tag team to begin with.
Yeah,
But like I said, we all knew that's how that mess was going to go down. I just have an issue with the fact that it always takes 6,000 people to beat Charlotte, and then on top of that, something I'm going to have to bring up about her later. Y'all have had it.
Um, See, I'm a little. I guess I'm a little more forgiving of this Charlotte match, and this is rare for me because everybody who watches me consistently knows that I trash on Charlotte as much as I can. I've just been more lenient because I understand what her absence has done to the quality of matches and how much she impacts the title picture. So I think this is a three-pronged answer for me. Firstly, I understand the loss because I don't even remember what my prediction was at this point, but I understand the loss because the way the loss happened, it gives Oscar and Charlotte something to feud about down the road when they eventually take the title of Oscar because it seems like that's where they're going. Two, it gives Charlotte a secondary feud to hold her over until that happens. And third, I actually think Charlotte took a fair amount of offense. Did she sell the best way she could? Not to a point where she looked like she was that hurt, but some of the hits she took, I was like, okay, she's actually out here taking hits and she's actually out here selling.
I need to throw a challenge flag for real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to Lacey Evans getting involved in that match, Charlotte took 5 moves.
You
That was
counted?
it. Yes.
You counted?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
bro, it was
It felt
annoying.
like she was taking. It felt like she was taking not like full on maneuvers, but like it felt like she was taking hits, like strikes and all that other stuff.
But I mean, it was annoying because of the fact that she actually took down both Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on her own, and I'm
I
like,
understand.
you gotta be
I
kidding me.
understand. But it's kind of the same thing that they did with John Cena. That's why I'm not that surprised because they do this with their top stars. They make them seem almost invincible, and that's why they always book them into a corner. This is why they always book them into a corner because they
Yep.
book them out to be these mega, like unbeatable forces, and then when they have to take a pin, they have to do things that are extreme.
But here's the thing: the problem
Yeah,
with Charlotte, it's like that with her, no matter
it's
if she face
consistent.
or heel.
I know. Again, I like I said, I get it. I understand, but I will give her credit where it's due. for me, this was actually a pretty good match of her taking offense, her giving offense, and then her selling somewhat of the offense. Like at least she sold some things. Now, the fact that they're featuring the blonde bombshells. I don't know what you want to call them, but they
Lacey.
need a
Oh.
name. They need a
Oh,
name.
Mandy and Dana.
Mandy and Dana.
Yes, they need a name. They need a name. They need a name. They need a tag team name. The fact that we have to keep calling them by their names separately as if they're two separate superstars, even though they have an entrance together, they have matching gear, they have matching poses. They need a name if you're going to keep them as a tag team.
Custom team number 3.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like right now, and that's what's annoying me because if you're going to make them a legitimate tag team, make them a legitimate tag team. And it's not like an Edge and Christian thing because now you have. It's not like if you're going to say Dana and Mandy, it just sounds childlike, so it doesn't work. Like Edge and Christian were one of the few teams that can get away with not having a team name while having a team name.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the fact that they are, I guess, giving Lacey the rub, but it's like Benny said, it's Ric Flair has a fetishes with blondes, and it's kind of creepy and it's a little uncomfortable. But I get what they're doing because they're just giving her the rub, and it's giving you more heat for her character because it's showing a very old school dynamic of the pretty girl manipulating the old man and taking all of his money and using him to get to where she needs to get to or whatever, even though this chick's a Marine. So I think the message is a little counterproductive, but I get what they're doing. Now the title flip had to happen. My only problem is that the initial title flip happened when it didn't need to happen. Like you didn't need for Nia and Shayna to lose the titles only to get it back 3 weeks later. Wasn't really necessary. Wasn't necessary at all. And it's still to me making no sense that I guess yes they're kind of gaining a tag team chemistry, but you still need these women for the main title picture because you don't have one. So why are we still depicting these two as a tag team? This team should have imploded already, and this match realistically should have been Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Charlotte and Asuka, and those two getting the rub for simply being a tag team. Or it should have been the Riot Squad. Or it should have been, they should have waited for the Dusty Rhodes Classic to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And they should have used that to break them up. And they should have just had infighting within those two until whomever won that, because it seems like it may be Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez to me anyway, because they just eliminated the one tag team that actually makes sense to win this whole thing. Then that matchup fits better with Shayna and because Shayna and Dakota have history and Nia and Raquel have similar size and strengths. So the matchup makes more sense. And Dakota and Raquel winning not only further Dakota's storyline and gives her some comeuppance, even though she's not a face anymore, but it also now brings the title to NXT, which is where it needs to be anyway, because that's where all the female tag teams are and factions and whatnot. So I get it, but they really did this whole thing wrong. And I'm just upset about how wrong they did it. There's my rant. That's all I'm going to say.
That's it. That's
yes,
it. You
that's
done?
it.
Period.
That's it. I'm done.
Period.
Period with the T.
All right. So here's my issue with this one. Asuka and Charlotte should have never challenged Nia and Shayna to begin with. It should have been Dana and either Dana and Mandy or the Riot Squad. And
taking Asuka's place after Lana got hurt.
Right. And have them win no matter what. Maybe Asuka comes in and causes them the match, whatever. But put it on a real tag team and just call it a day. Now you have,
or have it be a situation where the Lacey Evans thing happens, but it happens with another team.
Yeah, because now you're playing hot potato with the belt that needs to be elevated because it never because you screwed it up in the beginning. by putting it on the Iconics because you had to call it audible because the Bella twins weren't even going to make it
instead of just keeping it on
on
Sasha and
Sasha. And
Bailey.
yeah, it's the whole the women's tag team title was a great concept when they came out with it, and we loved it. And then we loved the fact that they put it on Sasha and Bailey. And then, yeah, I guess you kind of wanted to see them against the Bella Twins, but I really didn't want to beat the Bella Twins. I want them I didn't want the Bella Twins to win it.
Ain't nobody want to see that.
Yeah,
Look
I
at that
wouldn't mind seeing it.
nostalgia
I wouldn't
crap.
mind seeing it. I give them the nostalgia one, but don't put titles on them. But so ever since it got flipped to the Iconics, that title has been like in purgatory, and now you have a hot potato with a custom team 3 and custom team 4. So
Doesn't make
the
sense.
the way I wanted it, I wanted Oscar and Charlotte to keep it, but then start the infighting, where they barely won the match, but you saw the cracks in them, even though they kept the titles. But
Right.
they put it back on Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler, and now it's like, why did they even take it off of them?
Exactly. And that's my main problem with it is
Mhm.
you flipped it 3 weeks later and it's like, well, why did we do this in the first place? What was the point in doing this in the first place?
Yep. And those belts need to go between promotions. It's the
Yes.
only belt
And
there is.
that is the biggest issue that they're having is that like the NXT is doing a great job of building contenders for that title. They're doing a fantastic job.
Here's my thing,
And
man.
you're seeing multiple tag teams,
Here,
but
here,
the
here's
titles just aren't there.
excuse me. They could have elevated a Dusty Classic much more than what it is if they had an issue in say maybe like over at TLC where there was like a bad finish where they couldn't figure out who the winner was. And
Mm-hmm.
then they go like, you know what? Both of y'all go into Dusty Classic. Y'all gonna enter, and not only do you win the first Dusty Classic Women's Tag Team Tournament, but you also become the tag team champions as well at the same time. As on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
so you throw incentive on there, and then you have the teams from NXT, and then you throw women from the main roster as well. Because like right now, I'm looking at it, and there's more on the men's side than the women's side.
Mm-hmm.
The men's side had a first round and a quarterfinals. The women just had quarterfinals and semifinals. I'm like, you could have added more if you added teams from the main roster on here. You could have put more eyes on the women's. That's why I always say. That's why I always feel that the women's revolution that the WWE says that they have, it's not
It's a
really
gi-
there. It
it
is a
was a
gimmick
gimmick,
from
yeah.
the whole point, you know. Um, but yeah, this is surprised to be on the pre-show. It was the one that made sense to be on the pre-show, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm. And
so
actually, what was more surprising is that we didn't get the U.S. title match on the pre-show that we thought we were gonna get.
We
I
got
was
it the next
hoping
night.
for,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that was hot garbage, and we're not gonna talk about that.
Yep.
yeah. So let's go to the first match of the night, which no surprise, McIntyre Goldberg. Benny, looks like you got something to say.
I really don't, honestly. I don't have anything to say about this. All I'm gonna say is thank God they did the right thing. Somebody came out and said, "Don't worry, Goldberg is there to do the right thing," and I'm just like, "All right." As long as he put him over, I said that was my hope for what was gonna happen, is that they were gonna go and they were gonna push this as Drew McIntyre now has victories over Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. That's the only way that you can spin this and actually make it right. And that's what they did, and I'm happy with it. And thank God they did what they needed to do.
Okay.
It was a perfect way to give him the rub that he needed. It gave the title the shine that he needed. It gave Goldberg, I guess, that comeuppance of he never had the world. I don't even think he'd ever challenged for the WWE title
Nah,
before.
Mm.
It gave him that match, but it also allowed him to elevate young talent, and it allowed for him to look good. Like it did everything it was supposed to do. Even though I think the jackhammer almost did kill McIntyre. He had the botched
yeah,
jackhammer
that
again.
was bad. It wasn't as bad as the Undertaker one, but it was bad.
That just again, it goes to show you, stop putting this man in the ring. Stop it. He don't got it. At least if you're gonna do it, just have him do spears because he can't jackhammer anybody anymore. He
Well,
It's
doesn't
like
have them.
it's a certain limit because like
Yeah,
I don't think he's as strong as he used to be because I know
he's having issues jackhammering people that are heavier because Drew McIntyre is
yeah,
like 260 pounds.
yeah.
right,
Undertaker's just under 300. If you
yeah.
go out there and you throw, you know, I'm throwing this guy out there because I've laughed my ass off this entire segment, but the Dolph Ziggler one,
Mm-hmm.
he could go out there and jackhammer Dolph Ziggler every like the you know
Yeah,
3-4 times a match.
Rico.
right.
So
Yeah, but
yeah,
like,
Ricochet, yeah.
and if in terms of in terms of this match, like it did, I kind of knew he wasn't gonna win when he came out in basketball shorts or like gym shorts instead of like the Goldberg tights. Like when they changed to shorts, I was like, oh yeah, no, he's definitely not winning. He doesn't even have his actual gear.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie.
I,
well,
I was a
actually,
little nervous.
Jay, you go ahead before I'll give mine.
I'll put it like this: I was a little nervous because Vince could have literally just said in like somebody's earpiece, like, "Nah, I'm switching to finish. Put the title on Goldberg." Like, but also, I think that Goldberg understood, and everybody in the back understood that literally everybody was gonna have that mindset. So it
Mhm.
was the perfect way to put Drew over because everybody fully expected Goldberg to get the win because of Goldberg's reputation of every time he comes back to challenge, he wins. So to give Drew that kind of rub and to, in essence, give him somebody who you can throw into the main picture, he can get the win. You can give, you can now look at the you can look at the landscape. You have the little thing with the Royal Rumble winner because we don't really know who Edge is going to pick until that choice is made. Say, he goes to SmackDown route. Um, Now you have it where he also has a feud with Sheamus. So now you've re-leveled the landscape and you've elevated this person, and you still have the Miz and all this other stuff. So it's still it's a very good way to give like everyone wins in this scenario, and it's rare to say that everyone came out looking good, but everyone came out looking good to me, and I'm like, okay, cool, y'all didn't screw this one up. That was kind of my reaction to it.
I ain't gonna lie. I was scared of myself too. I mean, I saw Drew getting uh speared, and then I like held my breath. Like there was 2 times in this pay-per-view I held my breath because I thought somebody got hurt. This was one of them, and later on I'll say which was the second one. You guys probably already know, but this
Probably
is
in the
one of
next
them.
Mm-hmm.
match.
No, no,
Uh,
no, no,
I don't
no.
remember what the next match was, but I can tell
Sasha
you that
Carmella.
definitely someone.
Sasha Carmella.
Yeah, okay, someone did get hurt in that match. Actually,
Hmm.
Yeah,
someone did get hurt in
yeah.
that match.
So
So
I was
yeah,
worried for. I was worried. I was like, golly, and like again, like Benny said, this man does not this needs to stop. Yeah, 10, 20 years ago, fine. You could jackhammer Kevin Nash. You could jackhammer all these people. Great. You're working out. You know what I'm saying? But are you still working out? Like, yeah, you got the muscle tone still there, but it doesn't seem like it. It's not to like knock him down or not, but like, come on, let's be honest, bro. Like, that's the whole point of being a wrestling in the match is you protect each other. I
mm-hmm,
mean, if you're doing that, you're not protecting the person you're with, and that's scary
mm-hmm,
because you putting that person's putting their trust and their life in your hands. So just be honest with yourself. If you can't do it, just be like, okay, I'm not gonna do jackhammer no more, or I'm just gonna walk away. So I'm glad the match ended the way it did because if they gave it to Goldberg, I think I would have just walked away from watching the rest of the show out of frustration. Um, so
Either
I like
that,
the
either that. My bad to cut you off, Paul.
yeah.
But like, if he is gonna keep using the jackhammer, I know that the whole allure behind the jackhammer is the stall before he actually does the slam with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
let him do a snap. Let him do a snap jacket. You ain't gotta sit up here and
Yeah.
hold dude up in the air like that. That's part of
Yeah.
the issue.
That's yeah, he's trying to, and then that's where he's like there on the come down is like he's not because he's like trying to hold him up. It's like he's losing his balance and he's not getting it over like he's supposed to,
Hmm.
mm-hmm,
And God forbid somebody gets hurt doing that. Him doing it on somebody, you really don't want to see it, but
mm-hmm.
Gotta be
doesn't have
safe,
control
man. Gotta be
anymore.
safe.
Yeah,
And
and
that's why I say Baron Corbin, like people give him shit for like some of the
he's
stuff
one
that
of
he
the
does,
safest.
but he is the safest. Like there is like video
Mhm.
out there. He'll catch like in the middle of the match, he'll catch his opponent or whoever it is, he'll catch him and hold or he'll like adjust himself. Like he'll take the bump like harder than he's supposed to. But
Mhm.
plenty of guys that said I'll work with Baron because he's
Yeah.
safe. He'll look out for me.
Him and Orton.
Also,
Him and who?
Him and Orton.
Yeah.
yeah, two of the safest guys out there. Also, I get it. We had to make Heart of Darkness like a year and a half, 2 years ago, but I'm starting this now. Push Baron Corbin. The man has been punished enough for whatever happened backstage when he didn't cash in the Money in the Bank and become champion. Push Baron Corbin.
Remove
Yeah.
that damn King gimmick.
I was
and
gonna
then
say
push
the
Baron Corbin.
same damn thing. If you're gonna push him, take that King gimmick off of him, please. Like it was
Give him
cool in the
something else.
beginning. He
Yeah, it
looked
was
like
kind of
Game
cool.
of
Now
Thrones,
it's kind of corny.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
now it's corny. You need another King of the Ring. Take the King gimmick off of him, and he whether he's the U.S. champion, I don't know. I don't think he should be. I think again, you have to fill out this main title picture, and I think at this point, Baron Corbin has been punished enough. This man is gold. He's money, and I think we're now at the point where I can say Baron Corbin needs to be a world champion. And I know that's bold, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. But frankly, I say things on here so people can disagree with me. But this one, I actually believe Baron Corbin needs to be a world champion. Whether you put the Universal title on him down the road, I think you should put him in the WWE title picture because it's way more convincing that Baron Corbin wins and sustains that title. But Baron Corbin needs to be a world champion before 2022.
yeah, and he's a believable champion because he has every tool you want in the champion.
Yep.
He has it.
He's
So you know what I'm
he
saying.
has the
Especially,
look. He's fantastic on the mic.
yeah,
He's in great shape. He's rarely ever hurt.
no, no, and it doesn't matter who's the holding the title. If it's like Drew McIntyre or like AJ Styles, if you see them, you're like, yeah, I can see I can see Baron winning the match. You know, it's not like if you put Ricochet
Exactly.
against Drew McIntyre, like, yeah, Rico's not winning that match at all. You know, sorry, Rico. Like I'm picking on Ricochet right now so much, man. I'm sorry, my bad, bro.
Hey, look, for what it's worth, in the King of the Ring last time, Ricochet did beat Drew McIntyre.
Which is wild to say.
Yeah.
But why don't we know more of this? Like, again, we can talk about that later on another rant because I'm not going to mention my issues with the way what they're doing to Rico right now.
Yeah.
But
I think we all have that same issue.
But again, you have everything you need to push a guy like Rico, and you're just not doing it. But that's a discussion for a different day.
Yeah.
But I just had to throw in that caveat. Like we don't talk about Baron Corbin enough because I think they over pushed him with Roman Reigns and they put him with Roman Reigns too much. But when you look at the landscape of Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, possibly Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee, like this is the perfect group for you to put Baron Corbin in, and you have a literal and even no AJ Styles is on SmackDown, right? He's on SmackDown. Never mind.
AJ Styles?
No, AJ Styles on Raw.
Is that Raw?
So again, you have AJ Styles. So you have literally the perfect 6 or a little main card picture where you have a bunch of really good workers, a bunch of big power guys, minus AJ Styles. But then you have Almas as the muscle. And you had I forgot who he pulled out. I think he did pull out Baron Corbin.
Big E.
Oh, he pulled out Big E.
He pulled out Big E and Rey Mysterio. I was gonna get on that later.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna leave that alone. But Baron Corbin deserves to be in that main title picture, and he deserves to win the title. I'm just saying that now.
So let's go on to the next match: Sasha Banks versus Carmella. Sasha defends her title, and she maintains it. This is the second pay-per-view she wins.
Solid 4.5. I'm happy. I'm so happy. She about to hit 100 days. I'm happy. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get to 150 because I'm not gonna be
It's
satisfied until she has a 200-day reign. That's all I'm saying.
it's
You
She
gonna
needs
give
a
about
everybody
solid
else a
run.
200.
Yeah.
damn time.
Now I'll tell you what. I don't think she holds it past Mania, personally, but I'm okay with her losing it at Mania now. Like I'm cool with it. I'm
It
cool with
depends.
it.
It depends who her opponent is. It depends who her opponent is. It depends. I mean, it really depends.
Yeah, bruh. Who just want to? We gonna talk about this later when we bring up the women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But this match was Sasha as good as I've seen her for not having a crazy build up. Technically, I can say, and I believe it, her footwork has improved, her body control has improved, her in-ring work has improved, her transitions have improved, her submissions, her grappling, everything. Ever since she got hurt and people started talking down on her, and she's gotten back in the lab, she is one of the best workers in the company, and this is the best I've ever seen Sasha Banks. Like this is the Sasha Banks we were waiting to see. Like this is the best I've seen her since her NXT days, when she fought Bailey. Like the quality of match that she's putting on, the ring psycho, like it feels like the light finally came on for her. Now, the quality of opponent that she's had, I love Carmella. I love the new character. I love everything about it. I just still think it's missing something, and I don't know what that something is. But there's something about Carmella that still seems a little empty,
I
and
think it's
that
her
it
move set.
showed in this match. It
It's her
might
move
it
set.
might be because again, no finisher, no like. There's nothing dynamic about her. Like if she's gonna be catty and she's going to be this femme fatale or
Mhm.
whatever, there should be a lot more striking. There should be a lot more
Yeah.
flexibility. There should be a lot more of you seeing the longevity of her legs and the impact of her hits. She doesn't, she's still using that Staten Island girl, beat them down move set, and it's not working for her character. Not to mention, if you're gonna have the sommelier out there after the banger of a match she just put on with Sasha Banks, use him. Use him. Use his athleticism. Make him be more devious. If you're gonna plant the seed that he's gonna flip and go to Sasha, really sell it. Don't half-ass it. And I feel like they half-assed it. And I think this is literally just me nitpicking because I think this was a 4.5-star match in terms of overall. I love this match. I love Sasha's character. It's just the Carmella element is missing something. And I think you're right. It's her moveset.
Benny.
Um, on Reginald, I'm pretty sure that. All right, let me not say that. I'm not pretty sure about anything. Um, but in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I want to say that Carmella still has the James Ellsworth stench on her. So I don't know if they really want to pull another dude that's involved with Carmella getting overly involved in her matches. But we're talking about people that are in two different leagues. So if in fact they did try to pull it off, then by all means go ahead. That's just how I'm looking at it right now. There's a couple of things I got to say about this match. Number one, this honestly solidified, as if it wasn't solidified to begin with, why it is that Sasha Banks is my favorite out of all the horsewomen. That woman makes everyone she gets in the ring with look like gold.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
she does not get enough credit for that. Now, the other thing that I have to say about this match is Jesus Christ, Carmella, please stop killing yourself.
Bro,
Because she
they said
took
she
an absolute face plant on that
they said
dive out
she's
the ring.
Scorpion.
They said she's scorpioned.
She did.
She's she face planted, so she has like contusions on her face, but then her back, she did what Sasha did at the Hell in a Cell with Charlotte, where her
Mm-hmm.
back bent all the way and she kicked herself in the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see Sasha like grab her face, like, yo, are you good?
Yeah, she checked on her.
Yeah. I apparently according to choreography, she's gonna be fine, but she is banged up. So it
Yeah.
might be like a week or two because you've seen how far back that set Sasha when she got hit with it. So they may give her a week or two where she's not taking bumps, but like, geez, Christmas.
That's and
Yeah.
and
Sorry
yeah.
to
That
sorry to
that
cut you
that
off, but good lord.
yeah, that was a rough one. That it was that incident right there. And I didn't bring it up before, but it was the Charlotte moonsault. Those two moments in that in
Yeah,
this event
yeah. Mm.
almost took me out of the event because I
Oh
legitimately thought that Charlotte was about to die.
yeah,
Yeah,
she came like
bro.
So
that close, like to the
yeah,
To
edge.
the edge of the
I
thing.
was like,
Mm.
I was
I
like,
thought she
I,
got
Andrade, you're
hit
about to
and
be a
like she
single man
popped
again.
up. I
I'm like,
I seen
listen,
her hit and I thought that she like popped up and like grabbed her head because she hit it. I didn't like I had to watch it back to be like, oh no, she just missed that.
hmm but
Mm.
like those two moments, like and at this one happened in second. I'm just like, all right, y'all, listen, I understand you're out here. This is the Royal Rumble. Everybody's hyped up. Calm the fuck down. Y'all giving me a heart attack right now. But the match again, I completely agree with Jay. This is at the absolute least a 4-star match. The two of them
I agree.
out there put on a show. I was not disappointed in either one of them. Now I'm sitting up here. I told Jay in the midst of our predictions and everything. There's only a couple of people I'm actually in like really invested in at the moment, just because of the fact that I'm just like character wise or ring work wise, they're not really like sparking with me at the moment. Carmella isn't one that's one of those people that I'm really invested in, but she had me for this match, even though I knew she wasn't walking out with the belt. I'm like, all right, yeah, this is a performance that I could get behind. So, like I said, more power to each and every last one of them involved in the match. Reginald is a beast because, like I said, he went out there and he had his moment with Sasha.
Sasha.
Although there is that one thing that, like, honestly, like, kind of sort of twisted me a bit about the match when Reginald caught Sasha and the ref decided after Sasha hit him, was she hit him with like a Hurricane Rana or something, and then the ref threw him out. I'm like, why?
Yeah, that
He
didn't make
didn't do
sense.
Yeah, it's
anything.
annoying, bro. The
It's,
It
referees are
didn't
not
make sense.
consistent. It's like they're
there's
basketball NBA referees or something like that, bro.
there's no consistency with the
Don't just come at the
officials, and
NBA.
it's
It's
just
everybody, every referee at this point. Every referee in every sport is
yeah,
bugging. They bugging.
Yeah,
Even
but
the
yeah,
ones that are scripted, bugging.
yeah,
yeah,
that's that. And that, like I said, that's pretty much everything I got about that. This match was really
But
freaking good. As a
yeah,
matter of
yeah.
fact,
but
when
I
I'm
like
not blinking, trying to keep myself awake, I'm gonna watch that match back.
yeah. I agree with Betty. Like Jay said 4.5, but I was like, a 4. For me, it was a 4. You know, this match. It was like I was like I was just watching this match the whole time. And that in the second move set that scared the crap out of me was when Carmella did her scorpion. I was like, golly, you okay? Can you wiggle your toes, do something for me? I was like, I was really concerned for her because the way she face planted, the way her back went, I was like, I was worried. Then I saw her
dude, you
move and
seen
I
the
was
way
like,
she
okay.
shot it? You seen the way she shot through the rope?
It
Like
was
as soon as she
fast.
lifted off, I was like, oh God, Jesus. Like it reminded me of Sasha all over again. So it was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah. And it
Mm,
wasn't like she went slow. She came out like a damn cannonball. So I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, did Sasha catch her? I was like, oh nope. She just caught her enough just to brace her a fall, but not
she like
enough to
caught
like
her around
still.
the boot, the breast area instead of
Yeah.
catching her like at the shoulders.
Yeah. But I was just like, golly. Then I give her credit because she actually participated in the Rumble, but she
Yeah.
scared the crap out of me though, man. It was a hell of a match too. But again, I agree, like I was saying, Jay, like her move set, she's got to fix her move set for this character. You know, like not taking anything from her. Her Staten Island moveset is great, but it's like this character is different, so it requires a different moveset. And that's one thing we talked about too, is like when characters change, they also have to think of their moveset. They can't keep the same moveset all the time. Bliss is a
Mm-hmm.
perfect example. Bliss, when she turned heel, there's certain moves she does not do when she's a face, and she knows that, and that's very intelligent of her not to do it. People get upset about it, but it's like, yo, wake up! She's not a face anymore. She can't do that, unless she changes her name. But she
Mhm.
can't do it, So, yeah, I like this match. I'm glad to see Sasha retain the belt, and again, I think to me she should keep it depending on who she faces at Mania, but we'll get to that later. Um, the next match we're gonna go over is the Roman Reigns Last Man Standing versus Kevin Owens. Let's
This
get
one is
this one out the
tough.
way.
This one is tough. This one
I
is really tough.
that Swanton
Go
bomb,
ahead.
I loved it.
Oh, Can
Ah,
we get a hand? Can we get a round of applause for Kevin Owens, please? Oh
yes,
my God, the
bro.
form. That's the best
I'm
since
telling
I've
you,
seen Jeff Hardy do it from the entrance way. In like I think it was like 99.
yeah.
That's one of the best swanton bombs I've ever seen in my life.
Like Benny, you know how you talk about how like you like watching Sasha Banks and all that stuff. Like I'm like that with Kevin. I'll watch any Kevin Owens match because I like watching that guy wrestle. To me, he's like he's the one that they need to focus around because he has everything. Like Baron Corbin does too. Baron Corbin does. Kevin always has it. He's always had it. And it's like I don't know why they holding him back. He's shown that he can do what he can do with the belt. So I'm not sure why they're holding him back.
Because he's fat to Vince. We know this. He
Yeah.
literally has fat phobia. Look at everybody that he literally didn't push Braun Strowman until Braun Strowman lost his gut. Notice
It's
that.
annoying,
Same thing with Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin got cut
Oh.
up and then he started getting some shine. Same
Yeah,
thing with Keith Lee. But continue.
he needs to get over that, man. He really does.
He needs to get over a lot.
Because of the fact that it's like he's not pushing those that are overweight. He's not pushing those that are underweight. It's like you have to be like a beefhead, like a beefcake or something like that. It's like
You have
no,
to have that
man.
look.
Yeah,
And it
it's like we're
sucks.
past that look, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're past that. Look at New Japan. A lot of the guys there,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the WWE look. That look is old, man. That look is old. That was like 80s,
It's
90s. That
tired.
was it, man. It ran its course. He needs to. That's why I always complain. Like, I'll say, "Oh, he still got it. He knows what he's doing." Like, no, because if he did, he would
No, he
change with
doesn't.
the time. He would change with the time. But it's
Mm-hmm.
it's weird because it seems like he's taking a step back. He was not at the Rumble. He was not here there. So it's like
Oh
I'm a
no,
little
he was
concerned.
All
hospitalized.
right.
He was
No,
hospitalized
no.
before. So
What happened with Vince is his brother passed recently.
Right.
oh yeah, there was that too.
Yeah.
So he's been dealing with that.
Mm, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was getting a little worried. I was like, "Where's Vince at? You all right?" You know what I'm saying? So
I know
It's
he
just
was hospitalized not too long ago.
yeah. But going back to the match, that whole botch with the damn handcuffs.
You know what's funny? I was actually talking to you guys when it happened, so I didn't see the botch. I was actually looking down. So
Mhm.
I still don't know what botch anybody's talking about,
So
honestly.
when they handcuffed him, when he got handcuffed there, Paul Heyman was supposed to. He knocked out Kevin Owens, and Paul Heyman was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to take his cuff off, but they were having an issue taking the cuff off, and the referee just standing like, what's going on? Like hands in their pocket, like, okay, I'm waiting. Like
Yeah.
it took forever to get that cuff off of Roman.
That right there was probably the thing that took me the farthest out of that match because everything up to that point was incredible.
Yeah, and the worst
Mm-hmm.
part was
The
like
the
right at the end too.
Yeah,
the
it was
willingness
good.
their willingness to take bumps, their willingness to go out there and pretty much sacrifice themselves in order to
Mm-hmm.
put on a show. There's still nobody there. It 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 just speaks to the quality of the people that are
Yeah,
actually out there.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, if you think about it, and it's something that somebody else brought up, and I hate doing this, but because of the fact that all of us are still learning how to be analysts in this situation, the stuff that we wouldn't necessarily pick up on. This match took place after the women's Royal Rumble, so
Mm-hmm.
the women's Rumble is pretty much circulated or just centralized in the ring. And
Mm-hmm.
this match spent no time whatsoever in the ring.
mm-hmm.
They went all over the place in order to take your focus and actually use the space that they had. Like they went outside the Thunderdome for it. They were actually in the
Yeah,
back in Tropicana.
Yeah.
But when it got to the point where the handcuff spot, basically started up and everything like that, the biggest issue, from what I understand, is they had the thing on wrong. When Kevin Owens put the handcuffs onto Roman Reigns, the keyhole was on the other side of it, and Paul Heyman couldn't reach it right. But in this situation, bolt cutters. Why? Either that, or you have a situation where you want to make Roman Reigns look real badass. Either one of y'all ever watched Burn Notice before?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, do you remember the Diablo episode where he was ever running around snapping his fingers, blowing stuff up?
Mm.
That's probably
Vaguely.
one of my favorite episodes, because that, first of all, just because it was funny as hell. But in that episode, they have a spot where he is in handcuffs, and they have, I think it's Clay or something, as one of the links on the handcuffs. You want to make Roman Reigns look real bad? Replace one of those links. Have one of
And
those
have
links
him
be
just
set up for him to just rip them junks apart in order to get himself out of there. And this is one of the things that I was talking about with you, Jay, when we were doing our predictions and everything. Roman is portrayed outside of his matches as being this unstoppable badass, but in his matches, he needs help all the time, and that takes me out of him. And it is really starting to get on my nerves when it comes to Roman Reigns.
because it feels like they want to portray him as like a weasel heel that's strong, but it's like you can build a heel who's mean and conniving, but you can do it with him winning clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can, like you said, with moments like that, it's like you can build him as a monster or like a sleeping giant almost.
Even if you're not talking about him winning straight up clean, if he's winning dirty but still doing it on his own, I wouldn't have a problem with that either. All that does is build up him being vicious
Mm-hmm.
or doing what's necessary to get the win and everything like that. It's just a matter of like this, to me, makes him look weak, where he needs
Right.
all of this help. He needs Jey Uso helping him out 75 times in this ladder match against Kevin Owens. He needs
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso handcuffing Kevin Owens to the steel cage so that Roman could walk out and keep him from getting the title. Like, come on, bro.
You don't
You
you
guys,
for all of those spots, you definitely didn't need. Like I could understand if Jey Uso slipped him the handcuffs and
yeah.
bounced, and he put the handcuffs on Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
Like that makes a lot more sense to me than Jey Uso. Like, oh, I'm gonna grab him, I'm gonna get him, dog. Like even if your little cousins is with you, you still fighting 1D. Like you not letting your little cousins come in and fight your battles for you. Like that dynamic just it doesn't make sense to me. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm that whole thing has me checked out on it. I like the match up until that one point where the
Yeah.
handcuff spot happened, because from 100%, like I said, we've been over this. That's twice now that Roman Reigns technically should have lost the title based on how the referees are supposed to be calling the matches. They're supposed to call the matches as if they're shoots. All right. Now in this one, they sat up here and the ref is seeing that everything is supposed to be happening. And I
Well,
know
it's a
that he
last man
probably,
standing, so
yeah,
it's a
he
last
had
man standing, so
standing.
there's no disqualification.
There's the other thing that could have happened in that situation. If you're having that much trouble with the thing and the ref is sitting up there counting, okay, Paul Heyman, you're experienced enough to know, like, all right, this is going to look really bad if I can't get this thing off of here. How about I get up and I attack the referee to put the referee down?
And he gives Roman Reigns the key. Like
Right.
just slip him the key, and then you like, oh, and have him talk or low blow the referee or something.
Something. Like I said, there could have been ways to actually cover up the mistake, but they just didn't do it,
Yeah.
and it took me out of it.
Yeah, yeah. It was a good match, and there was that one. It was also another moment where Roman threw Kevin Owens off the monitors.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my.
So it's like it was a good
Kevin.
match, and like I don't want to take away from them, but again, like I said, it was like up until that moment, I was like, damn it, damn it!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys
It's
had it, you
it's
guys had it,
it.
you guys had it. You know,
It's literally it's like a painting or like shooting a movie where like you get everything right, and then right at the climax when everything's
Mhm.
about to come to like its close, something screws up.
The green
Yeah.
screen
And it
falls over.
Yeah, or like somebody flubs on a line, or like a wig falls off, or like Game of Thrones with the Starbucks cup. Like something happened where it completely takes away from how good the match was. Because that I'm never gonna forget that go-kart motor, that the golf
Oh
cart spot.
my god.
I laughed so hard because it's like, why is it every time you get a stunner finisher, you get ran over? I
Yo,
don't understand that.
there was
By a
no
Samoan, mind you.
there
By a
was no
Samoan.
setup for it either. There was no
Yeah, that's the
setup
thing.
for it.
Like
And
that
that's
was
what
the
made
one
this so
time,
much
and that's the thing.
That's
Like
the
they
best
finally
time.
got
That's
it
the best
right
part of it.
as a producer. Like the producers finally got it right, where they had the camera pan a certain way. They had the before, and you had Kevin Owens. You had it real close on his back, and Kevin Owens didn't sell it early. And that's the thing. A lot of guys who take a bump like that, they look too soon, so you know something's coming. He sold it at the very last second, and then you just see him get wiped out, and then the freaking glass fell apart. And I'm like, this is what you miss about wrestling in the Attitude Era, was the timing, the ruthlessness. Like this match was the type of match that we all praise from the Attitude Era up until that point where it's like, oh right, okay, no, we're back in we're in this era.
Like, I'll give them credit for the match. I'll give them credit for the entire match.
The match is amazing, but again,
they get all that.
The spot
It's just
was just the spot really hurt the quality of the match.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too much on it either, because
that being said,
like,
they have handcuffs. Don't ask me how I know this. They have the trick handcuffs where there's a release that you can just tap it and the thing flies open. Don't know why you just don't use those and you feel the need to use the real ones. Stupid.
Yeah, I don't know either, man.
Get the trick cuffs with the extended link. Don't ask me how I know that they exist, but they exist.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all I'm gonna say.
They could do all that stuff because, I mean, like I said before, you don't have fans, so you can get away with certain things.
You don't. Not to mention, you don't have fans. Why not pan away from what they're doing and focus on Kevin? Focus on Kevin.
Yeah, you can. There's so much you can do, but Jay, your thoughts on the match? You got your thoughts out?
I mean, again, I don't have much to say that you guys haven't already said, but like I said, the spots, the ring psychology, the chemistry, like Kevin Owens doesn't have bad matches.
No.
I've gotten to a place where Roman Reigns doesn't have bad matches.
No, he's gotten only issue I have since he came back.
He's gotten so much better
since he came back.
Come
no
back.
Way.
He's on another level. Like he's on a different level. He's at a point where he's finally reached where he does not care about the outside noise. He's just doing what he does. Again, my only issue with this is if you're gonna build him as a monster heel, stop having it be matches where he takes so much damn bumps. Like he took so much damage in this match, but I loved it. So it's a nitpicky thing. Like it's one of those where like it doesn't really need to be said, but it's just one of those pet peeves where it's like, if you're gonna be a monster heel, be a monster heel. And there hasn't been enough buildup in this match where I can say like Kevin Owens has wounded him to a point where you would expect Kevin Owens to get that much offense in. But I think the story was supposed to be like he verbally came at him so much that Kevin Owens kind of became unhinged. And an unhinged Kevin Owens is a dangerous Kevin Owens. And they definitely told that story. And I loved it. I just wish, again, I love the fact that he ended it with the guillotine. But the guillotine setup was so deflated by the botch. That's the only pet peeve, is that I would have loved for him to like unlock it and then fake that like he was, he would stand up, still act like he's fidgeting with it, and then Kevin Owens would try and come and he would just grab him with the guillotine and kind of like rag him around, and then that would just be the end of it. I would have loved that finish because it's such a sneaky, like, I'm gonna play like I'm still hurt and then grab you and that's it, game over. Like that's but it's nitpicky. Overall, love this match. Like those two middle matches to me are what really elevated and saved this pay-per-view from a pure match standpoint. Like those two matches alone make this pay-per-view worth the watch.
It is, and I'll get to that at the end. Reason why I say that as well. Um, do you have anything else, Benny, to add to this match?
Only that, and I have one little nitpick thing to add to it,
Mm-hmm.
and that is that as somebody who used to be a forklift operator, I was highly offended by Kevin Owens' lack of ability to actually raise the forklift up at the beginning. But that's it.
Oh, okay. So we're going now to the Rumble matches, and I don't know about you guys, but I want to start off with the men's match because to me, okay, so I'll put it this way: to you guys, which was the better one, the men or the
The
women?
women's.
The women's by
Okay,
far.
so I agree as well. So let's put the men's off. Let's do the men's first, and we'll go by that because I want to save the wins for last because we all agree that was the best one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind the Edge one. The problem I had with Edge winning was that he was number one, and then also you put it in a situation where like he was on a 2-on-1, 3-on situation. I'm like, and he's still not eliminated. This is Edge. It's not Big Show. It's not Braun Strowman. It's Edge. Two of you guys collect them over the rope. So it's like I'm like, why would you do this? Why didn't you have like somebody else come in at 3, like another face or something? Like you didn't need to build that with Edge. To me, it's like
You mean at the beginning?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I liked him and Randy going at it. I was cool. I was like, oh, it's at a banger.
Oh yeah,
Then you
that was.
got yeah. I'm not. I had a problem with that one. I'm okay with that. Then you got Sami Zayn come in. Then you had who came after Sami Zayn?
Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali. So I'm like, okay, so it's 3-on-1. Y'all can't eliminate this man. I'm like, and that's the problem I had. And then there was a couple other things too. It I wasn't too into this this men's Royal Rumble. I was like, my phone here or whatever. It didn't hold my attention too much like I thought it would. You know, what did you guys think about this one? Like, in your opinion?
Um, for me, I was looking at it more from of trying to pick out exactly where certain people would come in, and I got half taken out of it right from the start because of the Keith Lee thing, Keith Lee not being in it, because I
Mm-hmm.
was really really excited for Keith Lee in the Rumble. Jay, I said it. I know you remember me saying it that my biggest hope for the Royal Rumble as an entire pay per view was seeing Keith Lee pounce somebody out of the ring. Um, but with him not being in the Rumble, that's not a possibility. So of course, then it turns into okay. Now my next hope, and I know that I don't know for a fact that Seth Rollins is going to be coming back, but my hope is that because of the fact that he's been gone for this long, that they actually give him the return to the Kingslayer, and now excuse me, you have the potential to set up the man who can have the marquee feud of Roman Reigns' heel turn being his former Shield brother. But now that you've returned him to the Messiah and all this other stuff, it's just like it's another thing that took me out of it. So I didn't really have a horse in the race in this one at that point. So I'm sitting up here and I'm happy for Edge winning the Royal Rumble and everything like that. It's the first time he'd won it since Royal Rumble 2010. Um, but there was nothing in this Rumble that really really stuck out to me. Um, I am gonna say that the really really sour parts of it for me were after AJ Styles came out and you had almost eliminate Big E. I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care about the Rey Mysterio one,
I
right?
was
Because I wasn't
pissed.
expecting him to
That was
do
my
anything
guy.
anyway.
That was my
But
guy.
Big E getting eliminated the way that he did, it it doesn't make sense to me because of the fact that they're on two completely different brands. So unless we're planning on switching AJ back to SmackDown, which isn't going to happen because he has beef with Paul Heyman, what was the point?
Yeah, it was dumb. It was dumb. Oh, here's my other thing about the men's too. The men's finish was messy compared to the women's.
Yeah,
That was the other problem I had. That was the biggest problem I had with it, is the way it finished. I was like, this is messy compared to the women's. I didn't like the way it finished. It was just messy.
I am gonna say that the men's Royal Rumble had probably the best moment in it for the entire night, and that was when you had the Edge and Christian reunion.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have, unfortunately, and this is just me being conditioned at WWE. The entire time I'm waiting and just waiting for the Christian heel turn because WWE just has me conditioned to be expecting it.
Man, I wanted the 5 second pose real quick.
That wasn't happening. Although Matt Riddle tried to get it to happen.
Yeah, I wanted to see it. I'm like, come on, like, I'm like, come on. So, Jay,
Um, there are several things here that I think became very obvious in this Royal Rumble, and I'm going to be a lot more negative than these two. This Royal Rumble, the reason why it felt the way it did to me, it felt deflated in a lot of ways, was it highlighted the extreme lack of star power, youth, storytelling, and rivalries that exist amongst the men's roster. There were two guys who were under the age of 30 in this Rumble. There were only two guys. And I believe it was Otis, and I don't remember the other person. And Otis, I think, is like 29.
Is
So
Dominic.
Dominic Mysterio, who's 23. So that's one thing. I think that speaks volumes to me. Secondly, it shows you how bare the character development is in this company, because every Royal Rumble, there are several stars you want to root for. This one, there was only a handful and a bunch of fillers. And it really showed that in years past, even the mid cards were easy to root for because you had a character to root for. You had nothing. It was hollow. Where guys came out and I was like, oh, okay, oh, well, yeah. And there were just periods where, like, I went to pee, I looked at my phone, I went on my computer, I was watching YouTube videos, I was watching YouTube pranks while this Royal Rumble was going on.
yeah, it did.
Not realizing like what was, I was like, oh, what happened? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Like, I went to the bathroom, didn't even know Ali came out. And lastly, it's like they forgot how to write rivalries, because your Intercontinental champion was in this match. I believe one or both of your tag team champions was in this match. So you're telling me both and your US champion was in this match. You did nothing for any one of these champions to create a rivalry or feud worth talking about.
I actually need to go back and check on something because I do believe, if I remember correctly, there was a spot between Lashley and Big E that the 2 of them were just going at it.
yeah, there was.
Yeah, it was.
There was.
But again, that's to set up Survivor Series in what, September?
Yeah.
I don't care about the champion versus champion thing right now. That's literally the last thing that I care about when it came to this Royal Rumble. Whereas you had the opportunity for Dolph Ziggler to beat with one of either Montez Ford or
Angelo Dawkins.
Angelo Dawkins, neither of which were in the Royal Rumble for whatever reason. You had Otis, who was there, Otis and Chad Gable, who I don't know if they're a tag team, I don't know what they are. Neither one of them went after Dolph. The only team that went after Dolph was God, it was John Morrison and The Miz. That's it.
Completely different show.
Yeah. So that's all. And like you guys said, you cheaply eliminate Big E. Now, here's the frustrating part about that. Big E was by far one of the favorites to win the Royal Rumble. Why he was not in the final four doesn't make a lot of sense to me whatsoever. Makes no sense to me. That you had Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, and Edge and Christian, but no Big E, no Sheamus, nobody who's actively in your main event picture right now. You had two guys who just returned and two legends that just returned in your final four. How does that help your product at all? It doesn't. The answer is it doesn't. Now, what the annoying part about this whole thing is that you literally could have started where you left off when Christian retired in this match. If people forget, Christian never got his rematch against Big E for the Intercontinental title because he was forced to retire.
Mm-hmm.
You could have literally picked that moment and redid that moment and had Christian eliminate Big E there, and you pluck it from that point and you keep it pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives Big E a massive feud, a career making Intercontinental title feud that if you so chose to take the title off of him, you would hear not a peep from anyone. And you could silently move Big E on and everything would be fine. What the final four should have been, for what Seth Rollins said, it's the new generation versus the old. It should have been Big E, Damian Priest, and Edge and Christian. That's what it should have been. Because then that really would have solidified, like, okay, it's the new guys versus the old guys, and you have built-in feuds if you need to use them. My last and final point is actually a point that I've changed my mind on. So this is going to be the only positive that I have to say about this Royal Rumble. I was initially upset with the Edge win because I'm saying they're doing it again. They're strapping the Rocket to a part-timer who's coming off a major injury, who isn't going to work all year, and who doesn't have anything built whatsoever, and is not going to help out young talent. I was sorely mistaken. I apologize to Edge and I apologize to WWE because I did not realize that Edge was the only legend with a brain and actually understands what it means to put over younger talent and to work with younger talent. The fact that they not only took this man and used him the way they did Monday night to start a feud with Sheamus, but the way they used him at NXT, even though they announced it, it still felt like a shock appearance. It still felt authentic. And then for him to use that time to not put himself over, realizing that he does not need to sell himself anymore. He is a first ballot double entry Hall of Famer any time of the week. He has the credentials. I know I said he's a double entry Hall of Famer.
Sorry.
Should have been 3 because I love the Brood that much.
Yeah.
But I digress. For him to come out and not only put over the NXT crowd, put over the NXT show, put over the NXT championship, he put over Pete Dunne heavily by simply saying, "You remind me of me when I was younger." If that would have gotten a massive pop, because I didn't realize it until he said it, and I'm like, "Holy Pete Dunne is Edge." When Edge went solo, the athleticism, the ruthlessness, the speed, the quickness. It's just Pete Dunne is more of a brute than Edge was. But going from that like light middleweight to being a heavyweight, the path is there. The fact that he then turned to Finn Balor, didn't treat him like he was a new guy, didn't treat him like he was a young guy. He's like, listen, you're operating on a completely different level than I've ever seen, and I love it. And it's guys like you that made me want to come back after 9 years. It's guys like you that relit the fire in my body. I was ready to go in there and fight. Like, I wanted to jump in and like, let's go. Let's make this a fatal four-way.
Let's go.
That's how you use your veteran talent to put over talent. But no, they were not done. Because then you have a small glimpse of him shaking Bronson Reed's hand the same way he did to Damian Priest the night before. Because then they used him Monday night to put over Damian Priest. They used him to put over Bronson Reed, even though it was a very small moment. But then they used him to massively set up. Massively put over the possibility, gave Karrion Kross the biggest rub I think he will probably ever get outside of John Cena himself coming back. He gave Karrion Kross the biggest rub and set up a feud, if it happens, to be WrestleMania worthy. That, and for him to do all of that in 2 days for all of this talent, if this is what I have to look forward to on the road to WrestleMania, I am sold. Strap me in. I'm ready to go. I love every single second of this. And that is the only positive I think that really came out of the Royal Rumble men's match, because there should have been multiple feuds set up, and there just wasn't. There was no blood feuds. There was the biggest feud in the match was Xavier Woods and freaking Mustafa Ali.
Right.
Which, stupid. And then you had Big E get mad and basically chokeslam Mustafa Ali. And they're on separate
I like
shows.
His reaction though. Gotta give him credit. Reaction was great.
His reaction was great, but what does it do for anybody?
Mm-hmm.
It does nothing. It does nothing. It is a waste of a moment, especially when you have a Royal Rumble that's lacking the spot of the quote unquote New Day spot now with Kofi, because Kofi is not cleared. So, like, again, you had a chance to really put Xavier Woods over here or really put Ali over here, and you didn't do it. You didn't take it because you decided to eliminate both those guys early in favor of whom? No one. And then, like you said, the Seth Rollins thing pissed me off as well. The Braun Strowman coming in that late pissed me off, because I feel like, truth be told, Braun Strowman didn't really need to be in this match. He didn't need to be in the Final Four. I get it. We know he's a big deal. He's a former champion. He's a former super mega colossal Royal Rumble winner. Like, you don't need to give him any more rubs. He's rubbed up. He's glistening. Literally, he's glistening. Stop rubbing this man.
I'm gonna throw some things out there real quick when you're done.
He's plug and play. And, you know, Seth Rollins, I knew he was going to be there because he's coming back. You want him to be in the finals, blah, blah, blah. But really, there was a final six, because the Randy Orton spot you sniffed it from a mile away. You knew he was going to come back. You knew he was faking it. We knew it was like, all right, whoever the final guy is going to have to go up against Randy Orton. We probably, at that point, you kind of figured it was going to be Edge. So we already knew that was going to happen anyway. So instead of a Final Four, why not have the Final Five? And then have Braun Strowman be eliminated, or have the Final Six be the guy, add the two guys that I said, and then you have Damian Priest eliminate Seth Rollins. Or you have Big E eliminate Seth Rollins since they're on the same show. Like, let's have some continuity here.
You have Damian Priest and Big E eliminate Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman, that's a massive push for both guys. And it gives Damian Priest something to do outside of teaming with Bad Bunny. Sorry, guys. I understand the appeal. I get it. But post WrestleMania, what is Damian Priest doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you could have set that up as a post WrestleMania feud so that you don't have to put him in a title picture right away. And then you go about the way that I said. So the men's Royal Rumble, to me, gets a C-. And that's the best way I can get it. It gets a C-, because it wasn't terribly done. It was just terribly booked. And WWE's lack of development of any of their talent. Like, I get it. If you're a talent, you're supposed to get yourself over. You have to come up with ideas and blah blah blah. But we all know that there would have been way more stars if there weren't so many rewrites. And it's the idea of rewrites. It's the idea of the audience of one that has absolutely butchered 90% of these gimmicks. You need more stars. You need an actual mid-card. Hell, the 24/7 title is a waste of time, but if you're going to put it on USA, whatever. But there should be a European hardcore, like that kind of title that's just consistent and not, we're going to run around like maniacs and interrupt matches. They need like a lower card title. They just do. Because you need something for these guys to fight for, or you're going to need a hell of a lot more gauntlet and freaking tournament style matches to develop these characters for these guys. Because when you're ready to push them, you shouldn't have to build their character at the same time, and you don't give them enough time to get over.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really. And then on top of that, what do you watch the Royal Rumble for? Surprise comebacks, surprise entries, nostalgia pops. There was none of that. There was Christian and there was Hurricane.
Carlito.
Now, Carlito. So all that tells me is that now they definitely have a roster full of people that they don't need to do that anymore. And that's fine. But you still lack the characters and you lack the intrigue of the wrestlers that you have there because you refuse to build them. That simple. Like, there's still, like, there was no Andrade. Crazy to me. No Andrade in this Royal Rumble match.
Ricochet.
God, no Ricochet. Ricochet was there.
Ricochet was in it.
Definitely
Was he?
He was in it.
Yeah.
Oh crap! Yeah, he was.
Again,
Yeah.
there was no Aleister. There was no Aleister Black.
Aleister Black's another one.
There was no
Chad Gable. Otis.
There was no Chad Gable. There was no
Otis was there.
Otis was there. There was no Mojo Rawley. Like, there are guys that are sitting there that you haven't seen in months that would have, either you could have used them as jobbers, but it just would have been good to see them.
Bo Dallas. Leave.
Like, there are guys you could have used in those spots that you could have eliminated quickly, but it just would have been good to see them get some action.
Yeah.
And then you slowly build towards the characters that we kind of know. Like, was Shelton Benjamin there at any point? I believe he was. Cedric Alexander wasn't in this match, though.
No, Shelton was not in there.
Shelton wasn't in this match either. So why was there only one member of the Hurt Business in this match? I get it's only 30 guys, but if you're highlighting groups and you're highlighting people, they should be there. Why was no other member of Retribution in this match?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, this is where you get the other members over to make me believe in all of these factions. This is where you start to sow the seeds of, if you're going to blow them up, you blow them up. There was one tag team champion in this match. You didn't even have full tag teams. You had one tag team champion. So there was no multiple tag teams anywhere. That should have really filled out most of the Royal Rumble. That's what most of the Royal Rumble is. And the tail end is the bigger stars. Like, everything that makes the Royal Rumble was severely lacking this year. Rant over.
So here's what I wanted to go with. Edge went at number 1, right? And he won it.
Mm-hmm.
He only had 3 eliminations. His 3 eliminations were, let me see. It was, oh crap, wrong mouse. It was Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman. The 3 at the end. Those were all his eliminations.
Seth Rollins, that's not Rollins. Does Braun Strowman even really count? Rollins eliminated him.
That's what I'm saying, though. But it's like they gave it to him. So Edge was in there from number 1. He eliminated nobody until the end. And I'm just like, that sounds like, at what point, why give him number 1 then? You know, that's why I'm like, that's why I agree with Jay. It was badly booked. It was badly booked. Now, anybody who watches the show knows I'm a big Damian Priest fan. That's my boy. That's my dog. He came in, 4 eliminations. My pick to win it, Big E, 4 eliminations. Both tied for most eliminations in this Royal Rumble. Then Big E gets screwed by that crazy ass elimination that they gave him. What almost like pull him out from the ring. I'm just like, I don't know why. Have a couple of guys, have them go out with Braun Strowman or something, and then Damian Priest gets eliminated by Bobby Lashley, which I'm okay with. You know what I'm saying? It's Bobby. It's not like it's the Hurricane. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then another problem I heard. The other thing I heard was that nobody knew Edge was coming back until they announced it. And everybody was like, why did you announce it? And supposedly what I heard was they said because, oh, well, since there's no crowd, there's not going to be a pop anymore. So let's just announce it. Like, no, like for the fans at home, we'll still be excited. Like Vince, what don't you get? Like, we're at home. We do get excited too when we see people we haven't seen. Like, we do have a pop of our own, So it was just annoying. Like, when I saw Carlito, I was happy as heck. I've been wanting Carlito to come back. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that was a surprise. I was like, yo, Carlito. I was like, I like the exchange between him and Nakamura. I like that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
So
although I do have to question why there's a Nakamura doesn't know what an apple is.
Yeah. Like, Japanese people have apples, guys. Like, they're not
yeah. They live on Earth.
I don't get
Vince, they live on Earth. They're not from another planet.
They definitely do have international trade. Like,
yeah. So
they know a lot. Like, I don't know what kind of message you were trying to send here. Like, I don't understand.
Like, you could have had Tucker get into this match and then go off on Otis because they still have that grudge to get over.
Yeah. Or you have Otis go off on Tucker, more likely than not. Like, you finally get Otis to have his comeuppance against Tucker. So at least you have that story. You have the culmination to the story, so it's interesting. Like, that goes back to my point. Like, what did you solve by doing this?
This had no storylines at all. The women's have more storylines than the men.
Way more.
And I'm like,
way more.
How is this possible? Which we'll get to in a little bit. But, again, like, I don't want to spend too much time on the men because, like I said,
it's not worth it.
I had my issues.
It's not worth it.
And the ending to me was messy. I don't know why they did the way they did it, but it was messy.
It was a very Randy Orton type of it was very messy because, again, I get it that you wanted Randy to come back and be the slithering snake Randy, and he tried to get one up on Edge one last time, and then he was going to tie Austin and blah, 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 blah. And you had this whole story, but you knew Edge was going to win. And you knew if Randy won, it's like Randy and Drew again, guys. Are we really going to do this?
But see,
are we really going to do this?
I didn't have a problem with the whole Randy part. My thing was the sloppiness came in with the elimination of Seth and Braun and who was it? Christian. The way that all went down, I was like, this is sloppy. Like, they put themselves in a corner when they let Braun at the end. It was like if you let somebody else in there, like say Cesaro or hold on, let me see here.
They wasn't letting fucking Cesaro stay there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Like, Cesaro's about to be gone anyway, so I'll be surprised if he resigns. His contract is about to expire at the end.
I think he'll resign. I'm hearing he's going to resign because he's like he doesn't care. He's happy. He's not one for like the characters and all that stuff. He's happy with what he's doing. So I think he's going to resign. I don't think he's leaving. But if they kept Cesaro or Sheamus in there instead of Braun, it would have been easier for me to go through everything like that because, like, okay, you got one-on-one, whatever, you could clean it up. But with Braun being there, I think they put themselves in the corner. So it's like, I get you want the big guys in there, but you have to time them. And I think Keith Lee not being there, I think heard it and they didn't know what to do.
Because I think that last spot was supposed to be Keith Lee. I don't think it was supposed to be Braun. I truly don't think it was supposed to be Braun. I think it was supposed to be Seth and Keith.
Yeah, I wonder if Kane was supposed to be Keith Lee.
Maybe.
Or that's where
Hurricane.
No, Kane, like Kane, the Red Demon.
Not a Hurricane too, because from what I understand, I don't think he was supposed to be here either.
No,
know.
it looked like it. Like you can tell it was sloppy. Like
Yeah.
nobody knew what his spots were. Nobody knew really what to do with his gimmick. Nobody knew how to sell his gimmick. Like it just looks sloppy.
Yeah.
It looks so sloppy.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the thing is like I was like, no. The women should have ended the show and the men should have been when the men went on to me. Because the way the women's ended, I'm like, I go back to watching the men, I'm like, should have ended with the women. Bianca Belair winning, like that would have been a perfect ending to the show.
Mm-hmm. Right before Black History Month too. Man,
yeah.
listen.
So let's end this one. Let's go to the women's because this is like let's just segue into the women's right now. I mean, golly, like you start off with Bailey and Naomi.
Yeah,
I was like,
and it was
what?
and again on top of that, Naomi wasn't announced. Naomi just came back, and I'm like, and I heard her music and I said, thank you God, because now you have a new toy to. It's like getting a new toy back, or like you're getting like a new game or a game that you haven't played in a long time, and you get your hands on it, but now you know how to use it. Because immediately, the thing I love about Naomi is immediately after after this match, they interviewed her. She's already dropping seeds of her joining the Hurt Business after MVP did it months ago. So she might be the first woman to join the Hurt Business. And I'm like, that is amazing.
Oh no, man! I want to see what they're gonna do,
that.
but that's another day. The conversation for another day. So, so this one was actually pretty good. You know, you had Billie Kay come on at 4, but she's like kind of standing in the back doing a whole little thing.
She did her gimmick, man. Like
and I liked it.
She's so good at, like, I hate to put her in a box, but what she does well, she does extremely well. And she doesn't have a gimmick that it doesn't look like anybody else's. So I know Billie Kay can wrestle, but her character is so good, and her trying to find her place, and that being her character, and it being like I'm a Hollywood type, or I'm a New York type walking around with my resume trying to find my place after like losing my best friend who's actually, seen to be like the heart of the group. I love it because again, she's already infiltrated the Riot Squad, which came into play, which again, story, continuancy. Love it, love to see it. She has a couple of really good moves that work with her body type. Cough, cough, Carmella. Love to see it. Love it. Should definitely take notes. And she's playing the weasel heel. Like, you don't know, you want to love her because she's adorable, but she operates as a heel at the same time. And you love to see it. But I'm sorry, Paul. Continue.
Yeah, so we got that. Then Shotzi Blackheart, I loved her entrance. Like, and this is the thing because Billie Kay.
I was in the bathroom and I'm mad. I was in the bathroom and I'm mad, so I missed it.
Yo, I had to go back.
And watch this back.
I was like, when did Shotzi come in? Because I must have put my head down and I was like, I went back. I was like, yo, she got the tank, and I saw she fired off at Billie Kay. I'm like, I could go on. This one was so good. Jillian Hall, Victoria came back in.
Victoria coming back and getting her just due after not getting it in the previous years.
Yeah, I was
spot on.
I prefer. She should have gotten it before because she needed that pop from that crowd. She's that.
Oh, tight. For sure.
She's that tight.
For sure. Like the only other person that I think would probably get a bigger pop at this point, and I think the one that everyone's waiting for that will probably never happen, which is sad, is AJ Lee. AJ Lee's like the only woman I can look at and be like, she would get an explosive pop because we can't have Paige back. That's the thing. We can't get Paige back. So the very next thing would be AJ Lee, and we probably can't get AJ Lee back either.
No,
unfortunately. No, just please retire the Bellas. Retire the Bellas. I never want to see the Bellas in the ring again.
Yeah, and then Rhea Ripley just tore it down, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
She had 7 eliminations, bro. 7. Like they did her justice. Like what they did for Bianca last year, they did for Rhea this year.
But what I love too is that she's done so much since her losing the title, and everyone has said it. They shafted her since she lost the title royally.
Yeah.
This is this goes a long way to giving her just due. But this is massive for Rhea. Massive.
Yeah, it was the one. The one I didn't like much was Charlotte, but because I'm like, you can do without Charlotte, is you can put somebody else in there.
No.
But
Let me break in.
No. Go ahead. I knew it.
Let me break
you were
in.
gonna do it. Go ahead.
Because my issue with Charlotte in this Rumble has nothing to do with Charlotte herself. This is all the production and the construction of how she went about this damn feud with Lacey Evans.
So annoying.
Lacey Evans came out, and y'all, I swear we can go back in the damn conversation in chat. What did I say? Charlotte just turned Super Saiyan. This chick got out the ring and started beating the living hell out of Lacey Evans. And then they separated.
Yeah.
And they never interacted again.
That was weird. That was so weird.
That's the only problem I had with the Rumble was that part. I was like, okay, why? Like, she cost you the tag team titles.
I was like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen. And then the thing about it, which made it so much worse, is they handled the situation like that, and then the very next night on Raw, you have Charlotte do what she did in the women's in the triple threat tag team match, where Lacey Evans came out and she just walked off. So it's just like, now you're doing stuff with her character that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
None whatsoever. None.
So I don't understand how it is now. Like, mind you, I give Charlotte a whole lot of shit because I'm tired of the queen character. I want Charlotte to be more human. I don't want the Terminator anymore. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If she goes out there and she goes on a rampage and beats the living shit out of somebody like she did Lacey Evans, I want it to be warranted. I don't want her to sit up here and, like I had to explain to somebody else before, take a tactical nuke to the face and then respond immediately with a big boot. All right, that is for the part of it that actually irritates me about her. That and the title padding. But if you're gonna sit up there and actually spin a good story with Charlotte and actually have her put somebody over or sell for somebody, I'm invested. Go ahead, do it. Give me a reason to like this woman. All right, because Ashley Fleer, no issue with her whatsoever. I love her. Charlotte Flair gets on my damn nerves.
Yeah.
I also believe too, it's one of those situations where, why did you let this girl walk? Like, you gave her the full entrance from Titantron to steps in a robe, and Charlotte just doesn't react until she gets into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You got people jumping under the rope the whole match, and you decide to be like, you know what? You decide not to see her see this and completely just lose it until everyone will move out of her way, slip out, and go head first, like for a beeline. Like, you could have had it where she's putting Lacey through the Titantron in the back. You had her put Lacey through a table and then throw her into the ring to eliminate her. Like, that could have been her entire shtick. She did not need to be in the match any more than that. And then you can have her yell at her father on the Titantron while this is happening. And then proceed with Charlotte how you wanted to use her for the rest of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just needed her to beat the living shit out of Lacey Evans to a point where it was like, okay, I can't watch this anymore. And then have her eliminate Lacey. Or even better, you could have been having her beating the crap out of Lacey and her dad step in and break it up and be like, don't hurt her, don't hurt her, don't hurt her. And then have her big boot Ric Flair and then drag Lacey back into the ring to eliminate her. Then look at Ric Flair and say, like, now you take her.
Either that, or, like, I understand why they put Charlotte into the final three. It was to basically play off of our own expectations, to have us out there like, oh my God, we have these two up and comers that we want to actually win this match. And she's sitting there and they're just like,
that wasn't it. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. That's not why that picture took place, but go ahead. But that wasn't it.
That's the reason that I'm going with it.
Okay.
Like she's in there
I
basically
forget you don't watch NXT like that.
like I said, she's in there to piss us off, to say, oh my
Mhm.
God, they're gonna give this damn win back to Charlotte again. And then she gets eliminated. So it's just like, all right,
Mhm.
good deal. We don't gotta worry about her no more, even though it took both Bianca and Rhea to actually get Charlotte out of the ring, which it's another thing. Once again, we're having multiple people have to deal with her.
No. But this time it made sense. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You're angry about this, but you forget NXT continuancy. The reason that happened is, remember when Charlotte showed up after winning the Royal Rumble last year, and Bianca had the whole "you don't even go here," and Rhea had the whole like, "well, we're NXT, so let's get this chick." The image at the end was the exact image that they took from NXT when Bianca looked at her and said, "Yo, what are you doing?" And Charlotte looked at her and said, "Who are you?" She pulled a Thanos. So this was the moment where it's like Bianca was like, "No, you know my name. You know who I am now. Don't disrespect me like you did last year." That was a reimagining of that triple feud that never got paid off, because they never paid that feud off, because they added Io Shirai. Io Shirai took the title. When they had the triple threat match, Charlotte retained when Bianca Belair should have won that match. And Bianca Belair got the figurative pin, but the ref was knocked out because Bianca Belair pinned Charlotte, or she pinned Rhea. I don't remember which one she pinned, but she pinned and got the I guess you could say the moral
She
win.
got the visual pin.
Right there we go. That's the right move. She got the visual pin, but right after that was when she got called up. Like I think it was actually the same night she got called up. So they never paid Bianca off for that feud, and that moment, that little interaction, that was the payoff.
And you see,
And that's
if
what I think.
that was 100% on NXT, I would be with you.
But you
This
forget,
is WWE we're talking about.
No.
I'm not
But
giving them
again,
any credit for that.
Triple H is actually more in control of the SmackDown booking, Paul. Which is why I said, cough, cough. What do you mean? Who Sasha Banks faces? What tomfoolery are you talking about?
Okay, so
it is deathly obvious who she's going to choose. There's actually no way in hell she goes anywhere else but Sasha Banks. The story's already there. It's already built in. She's built it on Talking Smack. Sasha's gone back with it. The visuals are there. It's all over Instagram. Like, they've already booked this 3 months ago.
Now watch, just to piss Jay off, Bianca Belair tonight, since it's 2:30 in the morning, Bianca Belair tonight on SmackDown is going to come out and be like, all right, I'm challenging Io Shirai.
Yeah,
that would literally be the dumbest mistake I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But again, unsurprising. But I think, again, because Triple H has way more control, and then you know how what Triple H does with the NXT kids whenever they have a big moment, and he's always there, and they highlight it and they do all this stuff, so you know the payoff is going to come. Yeah, the finger point. Guess who got the finger point? Yes, guess who got the finger point Sunday? Guess who got the moment where she got the interview at the end, which is very NXT. It's not WWE. It's more NXT now than ever.
Bianca.
Notice the interview at the end. The whole
I got to shout
WWE
out
WWE moment with Tez when she's crying in his arms and you hear her whispering to him. All of that is very NXT. That's so unlike WWE when they have somebody go over. Like, WWE doesn't do that. That's why I'm like, that's Triple H. That's 100% Triple H.
I got to give a shout out real
Bianca thing where she was like, where he called her up, was like, you're a superstar, you're this, you're that. They've been on rotation with that. That's why I'm like, she's not going to go back to win the NXT title. Nah, no. They've been talking about
the only reason why she would do that is to piss you off.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, they've been trying to book the Boss versus the EST for the longest time, and this is like the perfect way to do it. And at Mania, they can use Bailey for something else. They can use Bailey for dozens of other things. Actually, I don't think there is any. Are there any face women on SmackDown that she confused with? I don't even know. I don't know.
Naomi.
Anyway,
No, Naomi's on
yeah,
Raw.
yeah, Naomi's on Raw. They moved her. I forgot about that.
Why did they move
But yeah,
her?
no,
Like,
we don't
Well,
know.
they
That's
needed
why I
to.
was talking about the Hurt Business.
They needed to. The reason why they moved Naomi over is because they needed some more star power. But the problem is, the moment they moved her over, she had to go in for surgery.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, there's that.
they moved her and then
But
lost her like immediately.
but like this pay-per-view, the way they booked it, story, rivalries, star power, returns, nostalgia, and a bright, young, shiny star coming out. And the last two being the rematch of Bianca Belair's last feud in NXT. And Bianca finally going over Rhea, showing that because Rhea's just coming up to the main roster. It's like we know Rhea had her moment last year, but this is the other girl. Like she's also a star.
mhm.
So they managed to create two huge stars. Huge stars. And by having Charlotte there and having the events that happened early in the night, they planted the seed for their secondary WrestleMania match if they decide to go that way. So now you have two up and comers and two horsewomen.
And you know what?
Like,
I want to see Rhea and Charlotte at Mania because I really don't want Charlotte to be in there for a title at Mania. But it's a good
But
feud for her to
again,
have at
but
Mania.
again, I'm sorry to tell you, but that is going to be for the title. That is going to be righting the wrong of Charlotte pinning Rhea. But again, you know why I don't care about that? You know why I'm not mad about that? Because Asuka's held the title for how long? So I don't need a reason for Asuka to drop the title.
Since just after main. Oh no, wait, since Money
No,
in the Bank.
because she dropped it to Sasha. It's
Did
right
she?
after SummerSlam. Yeah, right. Right. SummerSlam, Clash of Champions, one of the two of them. That
But
she won it
again,
back.
more or less 2020, Sasha's had it. I mean, Asuka's
Asuka.
had it.
hmm
Asuka's been the shining star
Since
Yeah.
Becky left for the pregnancy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's basically since Becky left. So more power to her. But again, because Charlotte is padding her stats, that's one thing. Because the feud that needs, like, if there's ever a feud that needs to be righted, it was Charlotte going over Rhea Ripley
Yeah,
in that WrestleMania.
Charlotte
Mhm.
they
And
need to win.
Charlotte should not have won. Everyone knows it. Everyone and their mother knows it. Triple H even admitted it without actually saying the actual words, but he's actually admitted it. That we've thrown some curveballs and we've done things that probably we regret now, hinting at that match. But she said Rhea took it on the chin and was a champ about it and didn't cry about it and just kept pushing and
She
allowed
did,
us to.
she admitted it affected her really bad though.
It did. And I know, and I think Hunter takes that into account.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely did. So, I mean, if there's ever a way to right that wrong, it is for her to win the one legitimate women's title, in my humble opinion, because that is the actual original women's title at WrestleMania over Charlotte.
Yeah.
And at least hold it till SummerSlam.
The one thing too, I liked what they did was with Alexa Bliss, where she came in,
that
she
was
did
hilarious.
her thing. It was great because it kept her character strong.
hmm
It kept the character
And
strong.
the change, like everything about that was just so, because it was like, we're not even gonna let you transform. We're not even gonna
Nope.
let you do what you. It's like, oh hell no, we seen what he did to the guys. We not doing this.
You know what the messed up part about that whole thing is? The messed up part about that whole thing is that when Rhea Ripley finally eliminated her, while she was going through the transformation, the only thing that popped up in my head was that old meme of that old lady talking about, ain't nobody got time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It was a great moment for not only Rhea but for Alexa Bliss, because to me that legitimized Alexa Bliss as like a real credible threat, where like the entire women's division is terrified of this woman.
The transformation.
mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all understand how dangerous she is. And I'm sorry I'm a floating head right now, but I'm having
I was
some
about to say,
lighting
man, we
issues.
need to get you a green screen, yo, because you're like getting absorbed into the void.
Yeah.
I know it's bad. I'm getting sucked into the void that is the men's Royal Rumble. It's terrible.
The other thing that was
But
pretty cool was the storyline with Tamina and Nia Jax.
oh,
Them two
another
standing
thing
with
with her and
Shayna.
Shayna too.
She's
Yeah.
like, that's
She's
family. That's
family.
family. So you see Shayna and
And
Tamina going
then-
at it.
Like, what?
And then you had Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, and then you had
Ruby Riott.
Ruby Riott, where now you see Billy Kay is like but then like that is all great because it forwards everyone's character, probably except Peyton, because they're not doing anything with Peyton anyway.
Keeps things canon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know?
and it gives you like, okay, yeah, we have the Iconics back. Oh, but ooh, I thought she was part of the Riot Squad. Like, how is she still an Iconic? And then you
Mhm.
see that kind of play out where it's like, oh, okay, like okay, all right. And it even again, her character is very minute, but giving her that moment made her feel important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it made the Riot Squad feel important, and it made their history feel important, because none of them are actually doing anything of substance right now. But it made them feel important. And it was a moment that they got highlighted, that now you can take it and you can do something with it if you want to, or you can have it just be one of those reunited, like reunion moments. And it's like, that's what the Royal Rumble is, though. Is you can either start feuds, you can finish feuds, you can plant seeds for a year. Like the Roman Reigns Undertaker thing was planted at the Royal Rumble simply because he eliminated him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have had, to me, you should have had like Matt Riddle eliminate Braun Strowman or something like that. Like give Matt Riddle a big moment if you think that he's such a funny guy or something. Like him eliminating Bobby Lashley would have made more sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who the producers were for the women's match, but that's how you book a Royal Rumble. That is how you book a Royal Rumble.
I already got my answer to this.
Outside of the star power.
I already have my answer to this. But I'm going to ask y'all, is this women's Rumble the best out of all of the women's Rumbles there have been?
Mm-mm.
No. Not at all. No.
It's better than the men's Royal Rumble in this pay-per-view. It's a good one, but it's not the best. The winner and being Bianca Belair and what it means, I think is a good one, but it's not the best. Not the best like women's Royal Rumble.
I mean, like overall, because I'm putting this one on the top. However, as far as when it comes to the best moment in the women's Royal Rumble, that has to go to Becky. When Becky took Lana's spot.
Too. I kind of disagree with that one too. Honestly, I think the best moment was Trish Stratus coming back and putting like the crown on top of the cake of look at how far women have come. And because again, up until recently, it's always been Trish Stratus was the gold standard. Trish Stratus was the best woman that WWE has had. Now it's which one of the four horsewomen are gonna finish as the GOAT? Like they're trying to push Charlotte as the GOAT, but as fans, are we gonna look back and say Charlotte's the GOAT? Like now it's between the women now, because the product has come such a long way, but we wouldn't have been able to see that progression without having last year's Royal Rumble. And I think that's why it's the best, and that's why it's the most significant, because you saw the biggest blend of new, current, and old operating on a level. Like, was the match the best? No, this was a better match. But in terms of Royal Rumble, for what the Royal Rumble is supposed to do, the first one to me was much, much better. But it's only because, again, the women in, in WWE in general has this problem. They have so much more growth of talent. Like, their talent has to mature and it has to get over far more for it to mean something. A lot of those, like you said, we talked about the moments being great, but how many of these moments really meant something and really was a moment where you're looking back like, that happened in NXT, that's a great rivalry, this character is going to be X, Y, and Z because of this moment. Like, Nia Jax is still, it's supposed to be this monster, but she still hasn't had her moment. You know, Shayna Baszler was supposed to be this beast, still hasn't had her moment. Asuka is supposed to be the greatest woman of this generation at this point, still hasn't had a moment.
Well,
You
she's
know
not
what I'm
gonna
saying?
get one.
Because it's like, when you think of Royal Rumble, you think of Austin winning twice, you think of Randy Orton being the young guy to win, like you think of Triple H winning a bunch of times, like you think of moment makers, you think of huge spots, you think of all this incredible talent finally clashing at the same time, and it's everyone at the top of their game, and there's all this great momentum. This pay-per-view in general feel like it lacked that, but this current staple of wrestlers feels like it lacks that, only because they put people in such a box that it's almost impossible for them to break out and really be breakout stars, and for them to have multiple breakout stars. And that's the crappy part about it. That's the crappy part about this, because I wanted this to be the best pay-per-view. I think if you look at like the Final Four, is the best version of the Final Four, the best well done thing, because again, you have the whole internet controversy of, did Bianca Belair's feet touch the floor before Rhea's? Did both
No,
her feet hit the
just
floor?
come on.
No, and we know it didn't, but we're still talking about it. We're still talking about it. And no woman has appeared on any show yet. No one's done really any press, but we're still talking about it. Like, that's what you want. Like, this is still going to be one of those moments that we look back at 10 years and was like, yo, did Bianca's feet touch the floor? And the new generation will look at him like, yo, Rhea Ripley got robbed, and blah, the same way we do with wrestlers now, where it's like, Hulk Hogan was but this guy, much better in that generation. Like, they've created that moment, but overall, people are not going to remember this Royal Rumble for shit.
No.
Everybody's going to remember the first one because you had Michelle McCool set the record. You had all these other people setting records. You had all these wrestlers coming back. You had, it's still a situation where the NXT talent is still taking a back seat when
I'm
they
gonna
should
say,
be. They should be on par.
I'm gonna say what hurts the original women's Royal Rumble is the knowledge that Ronda Rousey was coming, and
Yeah.
everybody thinking that she was going to be number 30.
Yeah.
When Trish Stratus ended up being number 30, it was just like, all right, well, she's going to show up eventually because we all know that this mess is going to get ready to happen. And then when Asuka finally won, then you turn around, you have the moment where now Ronda Rousey comes out, and you just basically had Ronda Rousey just steal the entire spotlight from everybody
Right.
at the end of
Right.
it. So I'm just like, all right, this is nothing against her. It's just how they put that together was
Again,
terrible.
horrible. Absolutely. But we still remember the match.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
You know what I'm saying?
that was bad because she came in, she pointed at the WrestleMania sign, like, for what? You, like, if you at the
didn't do anything to
Rumble,
earn it. Yeah.
fine, but
Yeah. No, I get it. But again, we still remember this match though. This
of
Royal
course.
Rumble, you're not gonna remember the match, you're gonna remember the winning. You're gonna remember the
winner.
last 3 or 4 period. Like, you're gonna remember the winner. So in that sense, it is a classic Royal Rumble. It's a classic finish, but I don't think it was the best Rumble.
And this
I'm
is
just
like what,
thinking
the
to myself,
fourth, I think, maybe the fourth one
I'm,
already.
I'm I'm just thinking to myself,
I
like,
thought it was only a second.
when I think about when I think about Royal Rumbles, I think about the iconic moments that are in the Royal Rumble. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the first one to me is always going to be overshadowed by Ronda Rousey. So that to
Mm-hmm.
me, when I think of that Royal Rumble, is automatically going to be that moment where she comes out and she starts trying to shake hands, and Asuka like slaps her hand away because Asuka's just a freaking badass at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is always going to be Becky Lynch arguing with Fit Finley about getting into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, last year's kind of a blank. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't even remember last year outside of Shayna Baszler coming out and what's the name being like game over.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I remember, and I think we were all pissed because
Everybody was
she ran
pissed off.
roughshod, and
Mhm.
then they gave it to Flair. I'm like,
Yeah.
This one to me, that for the what is gonna always stick with me about this is two different moments. It's the moment where Naomi and Bianca were working together to get back in the ring because
Mm-hmm.
Naomi had pulled Bianca's hair to get herself back up to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And the other
Mm-hmm.
one is going to be when Bianca and Rhea Ripley are sitting on the ring apron next to each other, and they both like agree to get back in the ring together. Those
And
two
finish
moments
it.
right there, those two moments right there are always going to stick with me about this Rumble right here.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I understand. Yeah. Okay. So I can understand why you would
So
say this one is.
it
It's definitely a top one for me. Like out of the four, it's definitely like top one or two.
so this is what's
But I
annoying.
just can't definitively say like this is the best Rumble.
Mm.
This is what's annoying to me. Shayna Baszler is pretty much a Royal Rumble beast. In this one, she has 6 eliminations, one less than what Rhea Ripley had, which was 7. Last
Mm-hmm.
year, she had like I think 8 or something like that.
Yeah, her
Mm-hmm.
and Bianca got tied.
Like it's ridiculous. Bianca had only 4 this year.
Mm.
But it's like, okay, how much can you push this woman where she is like beasting in the Royal Rumble, but yet you won't push her to be the top?
You know what they're doing?
It's like annoying.
They're making her Kane.
Essentially,
And,
yeah.
They're making her Kane.
but you know
And it
what?
sucks
At one
because you
point,
also have to
it's
look
like,
at she's also in her 40s.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
She's an older wrestler. Like her and Mercedes came up together. So like she's an older wrestler. You have to realize that too. And not for nothing, as much as it pains me to say, she's not your conventional looking champion. And because she's not big like China, Vince isn't gonna push her. He's not gonna put a title on her. He's not gonna push her.
no, and that's what's annoying because of the fact that like she proved at NXT that she can actually carry the women's division. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she can do
Mm-hmm.
it. She can run roughshod, no matter who she's facing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Ember Moon doesn't matter. She can do it. But
On
just
top of the fact that she has the credibility
yeah,
factor behind her too. Like honestly, if Shayna Baszler walked up to me and she was just like, "Yo, give me $1," I'm giving her my wallet.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, take it.
And the thing is, like, if she was a blonde, you know, I'm sure Vince would put a rocket on her.
Well,
You know,
also too, you have
it's
to
just,
understand. There's also the fact that her wrestling style doesn't fit the way he likes to book women or book wrestlers in general. Because notice, there's never been another catch wrestler who gets because the way she wrestles, it's so slow, it's methodical, it's precise. There is no pop to it.
but it's like the best moveset for a heel, especially for
No, no,
a woman heel,
and I
and I
get it,
love it.
but I
That's why
get
I
it.
love watching
But
her.
but again, look at the match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns and Sasha Banks and Carmella. The reason why they were so good is because they had ebbs and flows. One thing I can say about Shayna Baszler is she's never had a match for me where she's taken the damage. She's dealt a serious like a suplex off the rope or a big move spot where it's like a oh my god moment. She's always had it where it's like the match is really good. It's ebb and flow. Oh my god, somebody's about to beat her. Oh, choke out. You get what I'm saying? Like
You didn't have it with Bianca. I thought she had it with Bianca.
no, Bianca. Remember, Bianca had the pin. It wasn't like she didn't hit all these crazy moves on Bianca. Like it was never a moment where I thought she was going to pin Bianca. And that's my thing with Shayna. You're always looking for the submission, never for the pin, because she doesn't have the type of moveset where it's like, oh, it's a KO, it's a knockout. Because her moves are so flowy sometimes that there isn't any cadence.
Right.
And I know I'm using weird terminology, but that's the only way I can kind of describe it. Where her moves have flow, but there's no cadence, there's no pop, there's no clear up, there's no clear down. It's very fluid. And her style works, but it doesn't work for big money matches. Like, one thing with Ronda is literally Ronda's whole moveset was bam, bam.
It was power.
Bam, bam, bam.
Versus power, yeah.
And the problem with Ronda is that she needed that minutia. She needed those in-between moments where you're wrestling to go along with her poppy moves. Shayna needs poppy moves in between the catch wrestling, where like you need to see her like have that dramatic moment where like she's about to break somebody's hand and then it's the pop. Or you need a moment where she's about to stomp on somebody's foot and she's like like that moment where she had with Dakota Kai where she's grabbing her hair, she's yelling at her, she's slapping her up, and then she kicked in her elbow. But like, let's add in a package suplex or a brain buster or a backdrop or a blue thunder bomb or a Michinoku driver. Like, she needs those kind of moves to really get people to buy in on her. Because the arm drags and the catch wrestling is nice, but as her entire moveset, there were times before I really bought into Shayna where her matches were boring to me because I never seen catch wrestling. I had to get used to watching Shayna to really buy into her title run. And that's the problem. Vince isn't going to wait for people to buy into Shayna. And then you have to give her a lot of screen time. You had to give her a faction. You had to give Shayna a lot for people to really buy into her. Where it should just be she looks like a freaking menace because she can give you like I wouldn't even mind if she had Jinder Mahal's old finisher. Like, that would work for her. If she dropped a fisherman suplex, like a standing fisherman suplex or something, or she had like that swinging neck breaker that everybody keeps trying to pull off that looks really bad, or like she had like a running knee strike like Triple H had, or you gave her the V trigger because she needs those snappy kind of moves to offset the fact that her game is like to grind you down. She needs, because like even her kicks are really low, and even though they're heavy, they don't pop. Like, they're not like it's not the snap kick where you get kicked and then a person can really sell it.
You know what?
The little quick kicks.
I just thought of something. You remember Tajiri's buzzsaw kick?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would probably be one of the most devastating moves you could give her. It's the only problem with that is making sure that the people that she is working with is ready to take something like that. Because what you don't want is a situation like what happened with Brie Bella and Liv Morgan, where it is Liv wasn't used to taking the yes kicks, and she started leaning back too far and messed up the whole flow of everything and ended up getting kicked in the head. So,
right. And I think again, that I blame more on the backstage stuff than I do Shayna, because I'm sure if they asked her to do it, she could do it. It's just she seems like she's just going with the flow and she's not trying to diversify her moveset because it's like, whatever, you know. But to me, that's the final piece to what keeps her from being a champion on WWE.
The other thing is, like, if you take a look at people on, and I'm sure every one of us has seen this, but if you take a look at what happens on main roster WWE as opposed to NXT, everybody does legitimately the exact same thing over and over and over again. You can tell, like, that it's even to the point where they have decided to put comeback spots into the 2K games because of the fact that everybody has the exact same way they're going to come back in every single match.
Mm-hmm.
So people they fall into, now maybe it's the fact that, you know, the matches or whatever is you're wrestling more frequently on the main roster than you are in NXT when you were doing like the house shows and everything like that. Like that, this is COVID era now, so this is a little bit different. But now you got this time where, you know, you're up on the main roster. You have this you have this schedule that's a lot more, what do you want to call it? I don't know, a little more hectic. A little more hectic.
The current one or the previous one?
I'm just talking about main roster in general, not including the COVID situation.
Oh yeah.
So like their schedule is a lot more hectic than it is on, you know, with NXT. So now maybe it's, I don't know if it's the producers are just like, all right, we're gonna dumb this down for you so you guys aren't sitting up here having to construct full on matches every single time you have to go out there. You can just hit these particular spots or whatever. But the thing is, at that point, it starts to get like, it starts to make people boring. And that's part of the thing that needs to stop as well.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that has to be looked into when it comes to that.
But again, truthfully, it's us nitpicking because again, this match was really good. It was really great. But like you said, there are obviously there are clear problems with why certain people get pushed, why certain people don't get pushed, and then there are things that just don't make sense. Like the fact that Ruby Riott doesn't get pushed doesn't make sense to me.
No, not at all.
Probably like she's one of the best wrestlers and entertainers. Like I think again, Edge's promo said it best. He said, "The thing I love about NXT is that too often we focus on the E in WWE." He said in those other shows they focus on the E in WWE. Here we focus on the second W. And a lot of those wrestlers that got called up, their strength is the second W. The E is the problem. And the E doesn't come from them. When they let wrestlers let the E come from them, a la Sami Zayn, that's when they're at their best. That's when they're at their height. Same thing with Kevin Owens, same thing with Roman Reigns. But when you try to control the E, the entertainment factor of it, you get these terribly booked characters, these campy lines that are catchphrases, basically. Like if I swear to God, if I hear "get these hands" again, I'm going to jump off a building. I'm so
building. Make sure your life insurance is paid up because you know it's coming.
I'm like, because it's like, all right, we get it. You're gonna get these hands. What else you got? Not to mention, like, even there's some things that don't need to be added for entertainment factor, like the whole steam engine thing. Highly unnecessary. Completely changed his character, and it doesn't make sense. Just doesn't. And it's probably for the kids. That's probably what all it's about, but it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't. For what you were trying to build him to be, doesn't make sense. Makes no sense. And like again, this King thing, maybe they're trying to make him another King Booker where you can do it for like 2-3 years. Kill it. Go back to Baron Corbin. Kill it.
It's an anchor, man. It's an anchor.
And they don't, and it's like the people that they're trying to anchor don't need it. That's the point. They don't need it. The people that need an anchor, you won't give it to them. But yeah, I'm not gonna keep going. I'm done.
Yeah, this had a very interesting set tonight. If it wasn't for the Women's Royal Rumble, if it wasn't for the Sasha Banks and the Kevin Owens match with Roman Reigns, it would have been bad. It would have been bad. The Men's Royal Rumble was not all that great, and I'm not surprised. Men's Royal Rumble has hit or miss here and there in the past, and it still does. And the women's by far has been the best one in the last few, Royal Rumbles. which is interesting because you figured the men's would be holding it up there, but I'd say by far the women so far have been holding it up. Let's see where they're gonna go with both of these winners. Jay, you think Bianca's gonna go after Sasha because you already said the seeds are there?
She's on the show. The seeds are there. Like it, and when they did the shoot last year for the I think it wasn't Black History Month. It was Natural Woman shoot where all the women didn't have on any makeup and they plastered that whole thing on WWE Network and on WWE socials. They asked Bianca, like, who do you want to face? Like, who is the people that you want to go up against? Her first two were Bayley and Sasha.
Yeah.
Both of those women said, I want Bianca.
Yeah. So that's probably it's cemented on that one.
Two women of color. Yeah, two women of color. The first time ever at WrestleMania for a championship, there will be two women of color competing. There's too much first time ever. And the WrestleMania career making moment that potentially Bianca could have, there's too much money on that. Like it's too good of a climax for a career to give up on. Plus you have the 2 nights, so realistically you could have that as the pay-per-view, like you could have that as the main event.
And you gotta remember, it's 2 days. It's 2 days. Yeah, it's 2 days.
It is 2 days.
Yeah,
so
2 days.
You could have one Royal Rumble winner one night. You could have another Royal Rumble winner the next night. Yeah. It makes too much sense. Like, and then on top of that, the way the Raw women's division is set up, they need an elimination chamber more. Probably the only group of wrestlers right now that probably needs it more are like the tag teams, because the Raw women's main card division is so murky because Asuka's basically been doing tag team work for the latter half of 2020 that we don't even know who's there. We have to evaluate who's there, what's going on, what's happening. And I think having to figure out 6 people to get into the chamber gives the women something to do. And it allows for SmackDown to kill the Carmella thing because they didn't have anybody else. Like Bianca was the next person, regardless to who won the Royal Rumble. Making her the Royal Rumble winner just kind of isolates those two. But Raw is such a weirdly convoluted yet empty women's division that they need this elimination chamber desperately. So it just makes too much sense. And then the NXT women's division, I mean, you have the match at TakeOver, where you have now 2 new women in the title picture. You still have Dakota Kai, you still have Raquel Gonzalez, you still have Catanzaro and Carter, you still have all the women that are in tag team work. And you still have Shotzi Blackheart, who's yet to win the title. Like that division is already loaded and set and ready to go for the next maybe year. The only division that needs a story that is not 2-person related right now is Raw. So that's why I think SmackDown is 1,000% the choice.
Benny, any thoughts?
As far as the women's Royal Rumble winner, I know the Raw title doesn't have any. There's nothing with it right now because they have paid no attention to it since Hell in a Cell, and that's ridiculous. And I honestly think that they have to get the title off of Alexa Bliss in order to put it either on Charlotte or either get it off of Asuka to either put it onto Alexa Bliss or onto Charlotte heading into WrestleMania, which is probably going to be Charlotte. So
But again, Charlotte winning an elimination chamber isn't out of the realm of possibility, and it actually benefits everyone, including Charlotte.
I'm gonna say it depends on exactly how they decide to spin it,
Yeah,
because are they going to do an elimination chamber with the title on the line, or are they going to do an elimination chamber with the number one contendership on the line?
true. Because then you have to have a separate match to get the title off of Asuka.
Right. So I'm like, all right, I'm not absolutely sure exactly how they're going to play that. So, like I said, for Bianca, there's really only one choice. That's to go after Sasha. That match is going to be amazing, and I am already looking forward to it. Um, as far as Edge, the rumor
Oh yeah,
is
I
that
didn't
he's
even
going to be
comment.
yeah. The
I
rumor is that he's going to be going after Roman Reigns, so that they can do their hollow spear versus spear match or whatever. I want Edge to throw everyone, and I mean absolutely everyone, for a curveball and go after Walter. Legitimately just to piss off the world, because I like to see things burn. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah,
As far as Edge is concerned, I love all the work that he's doing, and he found a way to convince me that I kind of want to see him go after the NXT title.
I
Like
was about to go there.
there's a
I was about to
part
go
of
there.
me that's like, ooh, like that's just it gives you the same juiciness when Charlotte went after it, but this time I'd actually almost want Edge to win it.
It gives a new meaning to the Grand Slam championships.
Yeah, because
You know,
he puts a luster on the title that really hasn't been there yet.
and that Charlotte couldn't do for the women's.
Yeah, because again, he's coming back after 9 years, and the way he sees NXT, it makes you want to see NXT.
The other
Yeah.
thing, he has not been to NXT before. When
That
Charlotte went
too.
to NXT, Charlotte was already down there. If I remember correctly, she was already NXT Women's Champion at
Yeah.
some point.
Mm-hmm.
So this is untouched territory. This is uncharted territory for somebody like Edge. If he was to
Mm-hmm.
go to NXT and challenge for that title, on top of the fact that the difference between Charlotte and Rhea Ripley and Edge versus, just for argument's sake, right now, Finn Balor. How long has Balor been NXT champion?
Oh,
Months. Because we're talking
oh shit.
after Karrion Kross got hurt.
Yeah.
I think Halloween Havoc, maybe
No, before
around
that.
I
Halloween.
think it was
Before
before
that,
that,
Before that.
it
because
might have been like summertime.
Keith Lee won the title around the summer,
Yeah, it was
and then
Great
Karrion
American
Kross
Bash,
beat him right after that.
Yeah. It was his first
and then
offense. We were kind of pissed. Like, come on now. First offense,
Yeah.
can't even win
yeah.
it. Yeah. So
So
it,
we're
it-
talking about somebody who would have been champion for going on a year at that point. Not exactly. We're talking, maybe 8-9 months or whatever. But when
Mm-hmm.
Rhea Ripley was just crowned at the end of December,
Mm-hmm.
and then her run was just completely halted. This is a
Mm-hmm.
completely different story when it comes to Finn Balor. On
Mm-hmm.
top of the fact that Finn Balor isn't anybody new. This isn't a star that's being established at this point. Balor
Mm-hmm.
was the original Universal Champion, and he had been in NXT for years before that. So
Like
it's
they were
like,
gonna build the company around Balor at some
yeah,
point, and he's showing why.
hmm
So for him to lock horns with a guy like Edge, it makes sense. But
it
not
does.
only that, it's the intrigue of, will Pat McAfee come back? Like that to me is the biggest thing, because they benched Pat McAfee for some ridiculous reason. I have no
because he's the
idea.
greatest wrestler ever. You can't have him out there like that. Come on.
But I mean, also look at somebody like Pat McAfee in terms of mic skills, who is a mouthpiece for Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne could be the next man up. And Pat McAfee versus Edge on the mic, I'd love to see
Oh
that.
my goodness.
Pat McAfee versus Edge in a match, I'd love to see that. Pete
Give
Dunne
me
versus
every
Edge,
bit.
I'd love to see that.
Like Edge is
And
that
then
is
finally,
that
Karrion Kross versus Edge. holy
Yeah,
Christmas nuts.
you have so many matches you could put Edge in right off the bat in NXT.
But I do like him going after the Universal title because again, that's also a title that he's never won.
Mhm.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, that was all for tonight. For today, it's been a long show. We apologize.
Hey, it
It
was
was a
3
lot.
o'clock in the morning, bro.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. It's been a while. We thank you all for staying with us. Have a good night.
Peace out.